Welcome everyone to another episode of SG Crypto. This episode is going to be an update on the Flare roadmap. So they actually just updated us with a roadmap on Flare as well as Songbird. As you can see here, Flare launch is expected for the 4th of July. But we know things can change, and we'll get into how they could change actually, as they kind of state in this article. And then as well as a Songbird roadmap, which they do coincide. So we'll get into all that. Firstly, I just want to quick shout out to the Discord. If you ever have questions and maybe want to have a more intimate relationship as far as crypto is involved, or if you already subscribed to my channel and you want more updates on, when I drop videos or updates on Flare, Songbird, all that stuff, or have ideas of projects you'd like me to cover, or even just crypto questions in general, definitely a good place to connect with other people and ask questions where you can get a more timely response. I'm not as active in the comments of YouTube, so that's just a better way to get a hold of me and just to kind of be around like-minded individuals. Not only that, but also wanted to mention that in the future, near future, probably by the beginning of May, right now I'm working on a decentralized finance course, so any A to Z course really, for anyone who has no idea what DeFi is, decentralized finance, to bring them from not knowing anything about it all the way to being able to earn some passive income on a day-to-day basis. Very, very useful information. I'm trying to put as much effort into it as I possibly can to make it as valuable as I possibly can for you, as well as making it definitely affordable. So be on the lookout for that. Beginning of May is my projected time to have it ready. So with that, let's get into it. So this is the Flare rollout process. So in 2020, we set out to build a chain that would allow a few tokens from early layer 1s to be used with smart contracts. This is not the Flare that we will be delivering. Through extensive additional engineering and research, we have further developed our initial ideas and protocols to build something much more exciting. Flare enables a breakthrough in decentralized cross-chain functionality. Existing solutions are unsatisfactory. As an example, the reality of token bridging is that almost all existing systems are heavily centralized. These bridges are essentially a digital adaptation of the historical banking model. Thus, they actually control your tokens whilst being unregulated. Those that are genuinely decentralized are constrained to using an existing method of communication, the client relay, that forces a choice between being slow or unsafe. So the light client relay is used on other blockchains to bridge networks to other networks, and the light client relay is essentially the purpose of it is to relay information from chain to chain and to obviously bridge each other. But it's slow because this light client, as they're called, has to look over each network that wants to come over and verify them manually, right? And so it causes for it to be slow. But the choice between that is they could get rid of that light client and just have it be automated relay of information, and then it would be faster but then unsafe. So that's what they mean when they say it forces a choice between being slow or unsafe. And so they've obviously, by saying this, they're implying that they have an alternative. And so furthermore, light client relays do not work with all consensus protocols. An example is the probabilistic finality Byzantine fault tolerance. That's a consensus method. I'm not 100% sure on what exactly its purpose is, but just know that the light client relay is not compatible with all consensus protocols. Okay, and these consensus protocols suffer from being incompatible with optimized smart contracts that are written outside of a blockchain's virtual machine environment. Such optimized smart contracts are increasingly being used, and so there's a higher demand for it. And so I imagine we're going to dive into the alternative with Flare. So when Flare launches, it will be technologically advanced cross-chain interoperability network that answers many of the issues inherent in the space today. It will enable a safer and properly decentralized cross-chain future. Nothing else we are aware of comes anywhere close. With Flare's open protocols, developers are given the tools to build an extensive array of interoperability solutions. And so here are the 3 core interoperability products. I've covered these in an extensive 3-part series I did in the past, probably maybe 2 months ago, where I covered very extensively. It was an overview of Flare network and Flare finance as a whole. I learned a lot through that process, and I know that anyone who watched those videos, I know and hope that anyone who watched those videos and followed along was learned a lot, because it was extensive. It turned it into a 3-part series, into about an hour total, but it was very valuable. So firstly, the first of the 3 core interoperability products is firstly the F-assets. So these are providing non-smart contract chain tokens such as Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, Elgaran, Dogecoin, and others, these are going to be the first ones that are brought on, as we've mentioned in the past. And this is going to provide these non-smart contract chain tokens such as these with smart contract functionality on Flare. So these are going to be going from not having any sort of smart contract functionality on their current networks. They're going to be bridged over to Flare to have that functionality, and they're going to function as and be represented as an F-asset to be used across the network. Okay, and then secondly is layer cake. So this is kind of a new term, something I'm a little new to, but I don't want to dive too deep into what layer cake is. But so essentially, it is a safe, genuinely decentralized bridges between smart contract platforms, both to and from Flare. An example of that would be bridging Flare to Solana. Sorry about that. And also between third-party chains, such as Ethereum and Solana. So not only is it going to be able to bridge networks like Solana to Flare, it's also going to be able to bridge third-party chains like Ethereum to Solana. And that is going to be secured by Flare. Okay, so layer cake essentially enables the use of F-assets on Flare, as well as any chain integrated with Flare via a layer cake bridge. And then thirdly, this has to do with the state connector, so a relay, which kind of ties in with that light client relay. So the relay safely relay any information, including off-chain data, between any set of chains secured by the state connector. This gives developers total decentralized app composability, all secured by Flare. As an example of this system, we will be setting up a relay of the FTSO prices to Solana. So the state connector is essentially just responsible for relaying information from one chain to another. Okay, and so their test client or example client that they're going to use is going to be Solana. So again, nothing comes close to what we are building with Flare. This is why our strapline has changed to connect everything. It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Okay, so the initial rollouts of these 3 products will be coordinated by Flare for specific chains of key importance. To meet anticipated demand, we will also be launching an incentive program for developers to expand the connectivity of the Flare ecosystem. Bridges and relays based on Flare's defined product model, the above, will be built by third parties and certified by Flare, and they will be launching a Flare Foundation grants program over the coming months for developers looking to help scale the ecosystem. So if you're interested in developing, get involved. Being a part of a one-of-a-kind is going to teach you some timeless skills. And obviously you have to be a skilled developer, but that would be cool. I'm not too savvy in that space, but go for it. Just some encouraging words for you. So some key milestones. The state connector has now been fully deployed on Songbird, as you can see over here where my cursor is. There's the article for it. State connector is live on Songbird. I'm actually doing a video covering that in full next week, Tuesday. So mark your calendars or hit the notification button so you are aware when I drop that video. Okay, and then over the next couple of weeks, the decentralized consensus model will also be rolled out, and validation will incrementally shift from its current model to being run entirely by the FTSO providers. This brings the project to the point at which it is possible to launch Flare. To mitigate Flare launch technical glitch risks, an audit trail with TrailBits, one of the most reputable firms in the space, has been booked to start on May 16th. Okay, and this will run for 3 weeks, and provided no issues are found, Flare will aim to launch on July 4th. Thus, the team will confirm this date in mid-June when audit completes. And I'll update you guys, of course, accordingly. I already have my calendar set to expect some information in June, so click the notifications button and get notified when I drop that, and many other videos that'll come in during the interim. But yeah, so a lot to expect. You know, I wouldn't bet on it launching on July 4th. We've had many delays, as you guys know. So, I mean, it was supposed to launch a year ago, if you remember. If all of you, if anyone is educated or has been anticipating the drop of this platform since December of 2020, when they first did the snapshot, you know that we've been anticipating this for some time, right? And maybe I'm sure some of those people have fallen off and been like, whatever, it's never going to happen. But I'm a supporter, and I can't wait for it. It's gonna be revolutionary, and there's gonna be a lot to gain from it as being an initial adopter, right? So let's get into the Songbird roadmap and the Flare roadmap. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because, and you'll see why, and it's kind of because they coincide and it's dependent. Some of the roadmap on Songbird is dependent on the Flare launch. Okay, so let's go through this first. So the Flare roadmap is going to be, so firstly, we're going to go through the trail of bits on May 16th, right? As they said, that's going to go for 3 weeks. And so after that, they will rectify any issues if they are found. So then if the audit passes, they will launch Flare on the 4th of July, and then will come all this. And I want to shed some particular light on the FAsset A launch. So all that will happen, you know, all this will happen. The FAsset A launch will happen assuming that the audit goes well, right? Okay, and so then if you look here at the stateconnector activation, that is all good, as we just covered. The updated consensus activation they are currently working on, and then that'll go to the stateconnector client release, which is going to be a test client, and then the FAsset A launch. And as I just mentioned, the FAsset A launch is contingent on Flare launching itself. So we really just have to worry about, okay, so let's just get into it. So stateconnector activation is completed. What we're on now is updated consensus activation, and this is to be initiated over the next couple of weeks. Thirdly is going to be, after that, stateconnector client release, a release of an example client side package for the stateconnector. This allows stateconnector testers to correctly submit events to the stateconnector system. Anyone can build a client side. Flare is simply releasing a reference implementation, and so basically they're just testing the stateconnector in the sense of, you know, bridging a network and being able to relay information from network to network. And so they mentioned Solana earlier. I'm not 100% sure if they will be using Solana. I know they'd mentioned that, but that could have been just as an example. Yeah, right here. As an example of the system, we will be setting up a relay of the FTSO prices to Solana. So maybe actually, that sounds like Solana will be the one. And then after that, obviously you have the FAsset A launch, but that again is contingent on this. So right now, the most exciting thing I would say we have to worry about is the audit. You know, if you call it exciting, it's just, you know, it's just time. We need time and let it run its course. So if the audit and everything goes well, that's the launch. And then we'll see the FAsset and everything start to bridge over and slowly get rolled out. Everything connected. Look at that. It's beautiful, isn't it? So yeah, that's really it for this video. I just wanted to give you guys a brief, I know kind of going on almost 15 minutes here, but you know, a brief understanding of what's ahead. So as I mentioned, stateconnector, I'm going to be covering that in full on next week, Tuesday. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns on anything stated in this video or our other videos, please join the Discord to get those questions answered in a timely manner. If you do reach out in the comments, I'll be sure to get to you as soon as I possibly can, or someone else in the community will get to you. As mentioned, you know, Discord is a great place to be, but it's a great place also to get educated, or not educated, but notified when I drop new videos. So just to stay up to date. And finally, one last shout out to the course that will be dropping early May, beginning of May. That is my goal, is to have it ready beginning of May. You know, as we're moving into what I determine as a bull run. Well, we're currently in a bull run, but towards the end of it, towards the peak of it, and having complete euphoria to where most bull runs actually end, you know, people will have money, right? And I'm not saying that as if that's why I'm creating a course so I can get some money. I'm saying that's why I'm creating the course so people will have a place to put their money, so people are not just stuck with money that is collecting dust. So they're putting that money to work. You know, a lot of people are afraid, and I used to be this way myself, but are afraid of money, essentially, because they don't know what they would do with it if they had it, right? And so this DeFi, you know, I'm younger, but DeFi is something I devoted a lot of time to and am very educated in, and I've created some passive income for myself in it. And so I am definitely an advocate for it. I very highly trust in my skills, and you know, I have the results, and I show all that to you guys in the course. But yeah, it's just a place to put your money, and with being afraid of money, it's just a matter of lacking confidence in anything. You know, with competence comes confidence. So if you educate yourself more on something that you're afraid of, you will have more confidence. With competence comes confidence. Okay, and so that's the last thing I want to leave you guys with. As always, I hope you guys have a very, very beautiful day. Lots of snow on the ground here in Wisconsin, but take care. See you next week. Actually, I'll be dropping a video tomorrow, but for the stateconnector video, I'll see you then.